Palantir CEO Alex Karp has picked his side for the upcoming election. And for those familiar, this actually isn't surprising at all. The Financial Times released an article called Has Silicon Valley Gone MAGA? And it covers a bunch of the recent actions and words by tech leaders out in Silicon Valley, which in recent times, actually before this election cycle, tended to lean towards the Democratic leaders, at least on a personal basis. Now, corporation wise, though, I'd still say more mixed historically, considering the business interests, but nonetheless, things seem to be mixing up right now. But really quick, in the comments, let me know if you agree with the sentiment. Now, continuing on, there are a lot of familiar names in the article, but specifically, I just wanted to cover the quotes from Alex Karp, Palantir CEO. And from his perspective, starting out, he's talking about the fleeing of Silicon Valley from those who are innovating. And narrative wise, this has been happening out in California, where it's still concentrated, honestly, with tech companies, but it's definitely not the same tried and true requirement anymore to be there. And Palantir did this also by moving their main headquarters out of there to Colorado. But also, he notes, personally, he is not thrilled with the Democratic Party himself and kind of leaves an open-ended, but still, how far can they go before I reconsider? But still notes he is voting against Trump. And that's an important distinction to make here too, versus saying like, I'm voting for Biden. And this is speculation on my part, of course, from thin air, but it won't be surprising that the more moderate and basically anyone not on the far left would realize that this is the more useful justification on their side for voting Democrat. It's not necessarily pro-Biden, even if you were to say in the race, but rather a vote against Donald Trump. But that's just my perspective. And then further down, which is actually kind of confusing too, the way they worded it, but essentially they position Karp as one of the only donors opposite from his peers donating to Biden. And then their other quote for Karp, basically just noting the elephant in the room that political correctness in the Democratic Party is a problem in his eyes, but still doesn't understand the cost of it yet from the party, which he's most likely pointing to those moderate-centered voters from what I can tell when mentioning the pendulum, that they're not going to be too happy with this positioning. So it's interesting to see, especially when you've gotten to know a lot of the big names around Palantir, and that you've basically got both sides of the political spectrum, which I would say is becoming more of a rarity nowadays, considering how easy it is to fall into an echo chamber within your own lives on social media, which is an easy example, or even your own workplace, considering, geographically and socioeconomically, that tends to travel together. But Palantir remains at least at the top somewhere where they can still find a way to work together, even if they have opposing views. Now, I'd say personally that Palantir will be fine under either administration, considering the federal government is just a giant machine with people on both sides of the aisle who are literally just doing their job. So I think Alex Karp continued to be truthful about his own positioning, even if not fully wholeheartedly in support of the left because of the recent misgivings around certain issues and the far-leaning portions. But it's still good because it shows we can function working together still, even if Palantir is a microcosm of getting stuff done right with both sides. And disagreeing with each other on what's best typically is better than just rubber stamping someone's idea all the way up without vetting it out. But what are your thoughts though on Alex Karp's statements? Let me know below, and I'll see you in the next video.